Hello everyone, and thanks for coming back to the channel. Today we're taking a look at the TomoQuads SlingShot. I use the Mamba 1103 8500 kV motors, HQ65T props, Runcam Nano 2 camera, Nameless RC VTX, Nameless RC flight controller and ESC all-in-one, got a pyro drone strap on there, motor post I'm getting about 124 millimeters. Bottom plate is 2 millimeters, top plate is 1.5 millimeters. Comes in a whole bunch of colors. Blue is obviously the best. As I have it built, it weighs just about 62 grams. So as we're sitting here on the table, you can probably see the wind blowing everything around, and you could probably hear it on my stationary camera. So not the best day for flying, but I wanted to include this flight footage just because I get sloppy and lucky, and it all happens here within the first like 20 seconds, I think it is. So this kind of gives you an idea of the agility of the quad right there around that tree. So I wanted to include this, and now I'm going to get lucky as I make a right-hand turn and I get through the swing set, and somehow I didn't clip anything. So I guess I should just cut those clips out and make it look like I'm super good. So you won't find that I have tremendous punch outs over the house. And I think there's two things about this, is that I wanted to go 2S. And I didn't find a motor that just kind of blew my socks off. I kept looking, I kept buying motors, kept trying. And for me, it really came down to the fact that these Mamba motors, 1103s and 1105s, are actually pretty good motors. I had 10,000 kV motors on here, and I was just going through batteries too fast. And I think that has to do with the fact that this is more of a freestyle frame. So you're not looking for a lot of camera angle, and you're not trying to go fast. This is more either cruising or freestyle, where your focus is more hitting small gaps, going a little bit slower, doing more smooth maneuvers, and you're going to do more, smooth flips and flops, and maybe you do some other fancy moves that don't require that do require some height maybe, and a little bit of smooth stick action, where I am just the opposite. I am kind of all over the place with my sticks, and I'm just trying to go as fast as I can for the most part. I work in a few tricks for you guys just so you can get a feel for how those things handle when I'm doing them. Typically they're pretty fast tricks because I am flying under that canopy. But I really didn't find any motors that blew my socks off outside of these diatone motors are good. I've said this a couple times before. And the Happy model motors are also good performers, but unfortunately they can suffer from durability issues. The screw holes on the bottom of the mount, they just don't have enough thread to really hold the motors on there, and really much more than you get very heavy with the crash, and it's going to strip those threads out. I've had that problem. I've seen pictures of it happen online. The motors perform good. They're very, very light, but unfortunately those screw holes are just the threads aren't deep enough. They don't hold well enough. And they're 3-hole bases, so they don't have a lot of grip there. If you have a motor that I should try on 2S, now keep in mind my flight, we're going to end this flight in a crash too. Oh, jeez.
Oh, jeez. Well, we got 2 minutes and 30 seconds. Let's see what the time is. 365. I could have flown way more. Dang it.
So before I get interrupted with that crash, if you have a motor that you've tried and you feel that it would suit me, please let me know. I'm more than willing to go out and buy more motors. It's one of the things I spend most of the channel money on, is motors and props and cameras and different things, so I can build these things, because I don't tend to tear them down. Once I get them working and I get them tuned like I want them tuned, I usually end up giving them away. One thing I do is I do remove the receivers, because I will reuse the receivers. It seems kind of silly to always rebind and buy new receivers, because not everybody flies FR Sky, so I take the receiver. That's something I can save myself $12 or $20 depending upon what receiver I put in there. As far as the board goes, I had a number of different motors on here, so the solder pads must be reasonable, because I bet you I had it's at least 4 sets of motors on this. So I had to solder the motors on and off 4 different times. Well, off 3 times, on 4 times at least. So the solder pads on this Nameless RC board seem to be solid. I didn't have any issues as far as getting anything to work, the connectivity. The Nameless RC VTX, while it goes up to, I believe, 400 milliwatts, I just didn't find that it performed like I expected. It's reasonable, it's cheap, it's light, but it also doesn't power your camera. So that's kind of the downside of that. It's smaller, it doesn't have a button on it like the Eachine one, and you have to go into pit mode 3 times within 30 seconds to unlock it. It does come locked by default. So if you're looking at the Nameless RC Nano VTX, a couple things to keep in mind is that you will have to get your power separately for your camera, and you do have to unlock it with using pit mode. And I did pit mode on a switch, and if you do it too fast, it won't register. So, flip the switch, hold it, disable. Flip the switch, hold it, disable. That's sort of 3 times in 30 seconds. It's really not that hard. There are flashing sequences that happen each time on the VTX to let you know, but I'll leave that to your reading of the manual. I do like these Pyro Drone straps. I don't know if it's because it's white or if it's a metal buckle, if it's the right size, but I found myself using them. I bought a bag of 8. I continue to use them for the most part. You could save some weight by not using this. So if you're going 2S and you're looking at this strap, this is one area where you can save some weight. In this particular case, we can't use the rubber band style of battery mount. Well, we could. It just would look a little awkward because of the frame layout. These frames like this, and this is why I say it's probably more of a cruising or flippy, floppy, aerobatic sort of freestyle frame than it is a racing frame, is you've just got more resistance possibly than you normally do when you're going through the air, blowing against all these different things. Although I found the flight time pretty reasonable. I didn't think I was blasting through the sky like I kind of do normally. TomoQuads carbon is top quality. Let's see if I can get my thumbs on here. So this one's a little bit more flexible than you find on a lot, so that's kind of why I was thinking 2S and I was thinking light. I would actually like to build it down a little bit lighter, but I don't think I can do that without using Happy Model motors. I don't think, I would need to look on the TomoQuads website. I don't remember. I've had the frame too long. I didn't do my homework before I started recording, apparently. I don't think you can use the Happy Model motors on here. But I'll have a link down in the description to the parts, as well as the top link will be to TomoQuads website. If you're not familiar with TomoQuads, 1, shame on you. And 2, go check it out. He's got all sorts of frames to suit every fancy. So if you're a builder, and I think most of my builder friends out there already are well aware of Tomo, so for anybody who is maybe thinking about their first build, TomoQuads.com, check them out. Good quality product, stand-up dude, you won't be disappointed. If you have any comments, questions, suggestions, or otherwise, please let me know in the section down below. I appreciate your time. And thanks for watching.